Howdy y'all, name is Dave, channel's TXW5CSM. Going to get into the amateur radio portion of my hobbies here. This happens to be a box from Harbor Freight that K5CW, Mr. Mata, had assisted. Actually, he built about 95% of it before my deployment to Iraq in 06-07. We're looking for one case where I could hand carry it over there and it would look kind of official, and nobody's given me any questions about what was in it. So this is a radio minus the feed line and the antenna, all ready to go. Icom 7000. On the front, you'll notice the mounting plate for the control face. Around the right side of the box, you'll notice a small pass-through, a grommeted drilled hole that I use for the control wire that comes out to the control head. This is an exhaust fan. This is outflow. There's a screen on the inside and the outside. I learned that the hard way. Put a screen on the inside too, or else you'll break the fan blades off. Over here, further to the right, is a small 9-pin DIN connector. I added that to interface with the mobile configuration of this. This is also what I run mobile and base. This 9-pin DIN connector goes into the Molex looking connector on the back of the Icom 7000. And then there's a single 3.5 millimeter plug that goes into the CLV that controls my turbo tuner when I'm driving down the road. This is a standard 110 volt input that if I'm running the power supply inside of the kit, I plug the 110 power into the outside. It's converted to 12 volts inside and then is sent over to the radio. If I'm running 12 volts mobile, I use this connector right here directly from the vehicle power. On the rear of the box, only one modification has happened here, and that is the addition of this one grommeted hole here that I use for both the data cable when I'm operating base. I pass through the data cable from my West Mountain plug-and-play that goes into the backside of the Icom 7000, and I will also use that for my Morse code keyer. Around to the left side of the box, we have the HF connector that goes from 1.6 megahertz up to 50, and then the UHF VHF, which does your 2 meter 70 centimeter. I have a single point ground. Everything on the inside is grounded to this on the inside. And then this is just an intake fan. The radio is mounted on this side. The intake brings the cool air in from this side, vents it all the way across, and then out the other side. This grommeted hole is used for the CIV connector for the other portion of the West Mountain plug-and-play adapter. So that's a 360-degree view of the outside. We'll now go inside. So inside the box, when I'm normally operating, I will only have the Icom 7000. I will not have the power supply. This is set up as if I was going on a mobile excursion of some type, and I have put the control head, some packing material, and the 110 plug from the outside that would be connected to the connector on the right hand side. The control head itself for the Icom 7000. An external speaker, of course I would wrap that as well. I wouldn't leave that flapping around like that. You'll notice that along the right hand side of the power supply, your power in goes into 2 Anderson power poles and is then branched out to 2 items. One of these items is a thermal controller that is underneath the Icom 7000 that senses what temperature it is operating at and adjusts the fan speed accordingly. The second set of leads is double fused going into the Icom 7000 itself. Of course, the connectors on the back of the radio are UHF VHF appropriate, and then the power in. The umbilical cord that runs between the Icom 7000 and the control head. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the internal power supply, show you how simple this design was. So we power in, power out, and a ground. And this is ready to go for outside operations if you had the adapter that goes from the output into the larger Anderson power poles. So the unit itself is grounded to the single point ground. The power supply was grounded, and then we have an additional ground. I had an old tuner that I used to use in here. It was a latching type tuner internal when I was in Iraq. And I should probably pull that out. So this is normally how you'll see me operate. This again is the 9-pin DIN connector that interfaces with my turbo tuner in the mobile. This is the, I know it's not a Molex, but I forget what it's called. It looks kind of Molex-ish connector that goes into the rear controller, and this is the CLV for the turbo tuner that is dormant right now. And all I'm running is as if I was operating voice in a base station configuration. So to attach the items for the Icom 7000, if you're not familiar, there's a small locking mechanism on the back. You release those two, the interface falls into place. And all you have to do is get yourself enough rope. The grommets are split so they don't bind anything. Every one of the grommets was designed so that it's snug but will still move in and out so it doesn't bind or pinch anything. Your front speaker goes right in there. There is a toggle switch on the back that controls between speaker and a headset, so you get dual output or single output depending. And there you have it, minus hooking power and antenna up to it and the microphone connector, which is right under here. This radio's ready to go. So adapt it to your needs. You'll see a couple other videos coming up in the future where I have this set up in the house, and once I get the installation done in my 2012 F-150, I'll include that one as well. Knowledge is only power when it's shared.